When you come to this area, you always wanted to say hi and say thank to the Creator for, giving us the opportunity to come down and fish for your people and to have this land still.
Just before summer's end, the Karuk people make a journey to the center of the world by following the fish-filled waters of the Klamath River.
Creator has made it to where these fish show up at this time to feed the people up here doing ceremony. It's like a perfect balance. You kind of corral the fish, spook them in the net, and you got to turn it over. And when you turn it over, it locks them in the net.
It's here at Ishi-Pishi Falls where the Creator slows the fall run salmon just long enough for Kenneth Brink and the Karuk tribe to celebrate the World Renewal Ceremony.
And everybody that is involved with the ceremonies of fish, we find our identity again. We find our spirituality. We find ourselves.
The word Karuk means people upriver. And for generations, they've been perfecting the skill of jumping rocks and balancing on wood planks to fish some of the most turbulent waters in the Klamath. Today, they're one of the last tribes in California to actively fish with traditional dip net poles.
By way of ceremonies and creation stories. So that's what kind of keeps us here, and these poles right here have not changed.
Ronald Reed Sr. has fished more World Renewal ceremonies than he can count. But this ceremony, in August of 2024, is one he'll never forget.
Coinciding with the World Renewal ceremony is dam removal on the Klamath River.
Undam the Klamath!
Bring the salmon home!
And this day was inevitable because without this day, there's no future for our people.
On August 28, 2024, tribes along the Klamath River watched as construction crews broke through the fourth and final dam set for removal. For the first time in over 100 years, salmon can now swim freely through 400 miles of their native habitat.
Right now, it just feels like all of the salmon, they can feel it. They know they're going to be able to come back home.
Leif and Lisa Hillman are among the many indigenous people who spent the past 20 years fighting to remove 4 dams responsible for harmful algae blooms and fish kills downstream.
Our cultures, our communities, and our people have really been devastated by these dams. This right here today is, we can look toward the future because we have the future.
Behind the dam lies a century's worth of sediment buildup, over 17 million cubic yards, enough to fill more than 1,500 Olympic-sized pools. Since the dam's deconstruction began over 8 months ago, the release of sediment has lowered the oxygen levels in the Klamath River, killing aquatic life and harming wildlife along the riverbanks. Government regulators anticipated and prepared for these short-term deaths due to the sediment, but from the tribe's perspective, the muddy water is just a temporary setback that will lead to long-term benefits.
I've been hearing people, complain about, all the sediment in the river,
It's brown.
It's brown. I tell you what, all this summer, there's been sediment in the river, but when you get in that river, it feels good.
Back on the Klamath River, something amazing and a bit unexpected is happening.
Spawned out female. Fall Run Chinook, Jenny Creek, right here.
Just weeks after the final dam was removed on the Klamath River, the salmon arrived.
No, these are all repopulating fish from downstream.
Morgan Koneckley is a biologist with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, or CDFW, and he's been closely monitoring the exciting developments. In October and November, he and his team started counting salmon that managed to navigate through the sediment-filled waters of the Klamath River, and then these salmon made it all the way up to Jenny Creek, a tributary above the newly demolished Iron Gate Dam, where they now have started laying eggs.
We've seen over 250 fish swimming and returning back to this creek already since the counting started. We'll have, be able to put that in context in future years, but right now we're coming from zero, right? So 0 to 250, yeah, this is great.
That's 250 fish counted in just one of dozens of creeks and tributaries along the Klamath River. Also, about 100 miles north of the newly demolished dams, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service captured this video of salmon making their way up to the Keno Dam in Oregon. This dam and another one were left intact because they had fish ladders to help the salmon pass through. Eric Jones helps manage the newly renovated Fall Creek hatchery, which counts fish above the demolished dam. He says not only did the adult Chinook salmon swim up here naturally, but so did the threatened species of salmon known as the coho salmon.
We did not rear any young of the year coho at this facility. They basically found their way up here.
To boost the salmon population, CDFW will be temporarily releasing baby salmon from the hatchery into the Klamath River for about the next 8 years.
Hopefully after this 8-year period, the fish will be able to repopulate the main stem and all the tributaries on their own.
As restoration on the Klamath River continues, the rest of the nation will be looking at the Klamath as a model for future dam removal projects.
We have a lot of restoration, but the healing has to begin, the healing of the people, our communities that have been devastated by these dams.
Dam removal will soon affect everyone, and it'll require everyone to pay close attention. From the Klamath River, the world's largest dam removal project, I'm John Bartel.